What is up, you sexy YouTube mother lovers? Wrong channel. Brandon Herrera for Congress, because that's relevant right now. Won't make sense in a couple of years, probably. So today we are going to be making green stars. So, very similar recipe, you'll notice. We've got potassium nitrate, 0.3, 0.3 magnesium, 0.2 barium carbonate, 0.15 Parlon, and 0.05 red gum. So our colorant for this is barium carbonate. Now, most people know that green is a secondary color made of yellow and blue, which we've made yellow. Blue is coming later, because blue is actually surprisingly difficult. But barium carbonate will actually burn green, so we can get it with one chemical instead of a mix of two colors. And I finally lost all faith in the old scale, so we have one from Amazon instead of Walmart. That his fancy ass fuckboy. Yes, actually, turn it like that. So we'll zero out our bowl. We start 2.4 ounces potassium perchlorate, 2.4 ounces magnesium, the stuff we filtered when we made the screen, 1.6 ounces barium carbonate. I did double check, this is carbonate, not bicarbonate. 1.2 ounces Parlon. And 0.5 ounces of red gum. So immediately a problem I noticed with the scale is this is the bigger model. They have a smaller one and a bigger one. It only goes to 2 decimal places. So when I need 0.4 of an ingredient, yeah, that's a little difficult actually. And it now occurs to me also that I suck at math. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to redneck and cheat the system, because I tried to put in 0.04. Would it really be good entertainment if something did not go wrong? There's 0.2. I need 0.35. And we will zero that out. Try that again, because I don't know why it's down. There's 0.4. This is why I do this ahead of time. This takes a minute. But I'm pretty sure it only goes 2 places past the decimal, which is a little bit of a problem whenever we sometimes need to measure lower than that. However, you know, decimals are important, so I tried to put 0.5 of red gum in there, not 0.3, or not point, bleh, fuck. I tried to put 0.04 in there, not 0.4. So actually the range on this scale may just be fine. Yeah, it's like 28 ounces. We will check the video and see what the negative was when I took the bowl off the scale. I'm pretty sure that's close to right. But yeah, amazing new scale. Can do like 30 pounds. It's kind of insane. And it actually has batteries, or you can plug it into an outlet, which I think is very cool. But outlets are a little bit of a premium out here. So we will try our new 40 mesh screen and see if this works. Because I believe that that's actually what we need, is them to fit through a 40 mesh. I just always used a 20 mesh because I'm dumb and forgot that I broke the 40 mesh, the last one I made. That's kind of where the current methodology comes from. If I was really smart, I'd probably do like my bipolar filtering thing. Start out with my 20 mesh, fit it through there. That'd get all the big clumps. And then put it through the 40 mesh. But yeah, you can kind of, I don't know if the phone will focus on it very much, or the camera, because, you know, production terms. I'm fancy. Yes, I are proper YouTuber. The Parlon kind of comes in little flakes, because after all, it is a form of rubber. And so you can see all kinds of little flakes of something sitting on the mesh. You can also see pieces of aluminum, actually. Whoopsie! And putting it back through the screen, because we will be doing this a total of 3 times. And on the third pass, anything that is left on the screen, we actually won't put back into the mix. I will actually step it down to a 20 mesh instead of the 40 mesh, just because there's aluminum in there I do want to get out. But if we use the 40, we're going to lose Parlon, which, you know, kind of defeats the purpose of weighing everything. Already looks much, much better. Almost a uniform color. And then y'all know the next step here. 1 3/4 ounces acetone. Finally learning my lesson. Going to hold it flat. Slowly. There we go, 175. And a splash for good measure. And that is going to help melt our Parlon and form this into a patty where we can actually, you know, form it into the stars. The other way to do this would be, packing them with a hydraulic, which is a little bit different setup, but that actually requires more cost in tools to start doing this, where the rubber stars only require really a screen and some gloves, which is considerably cheaper than a hydraulic press and a star plate. So anyone who's watched the other videos for making the other colors of star, you're pretty well gonna know the process here. All I'm really doing is kneading this into a putty, putting on some latex gloves because I don't have an allergy to latex, and then kind of kneading it into a patty until we've reached the consistency that I want, which is kind of a bread dough after it's risen. And that's all I'm really doing there is just working it until the acetone is boiled off and it's a good consistency for me to work with. Same as usual. In this video, I did end up not showing me taking it off the dryer and throwing it into a bag because, having to set up and record for 5 minutes of video. But also, I actually made 3 colors in this batch and put each one on a drying screen, and then I just actually had my bags labeled and sitting on the counter in the order they were in the drying chamber. So I knew which one was which, and I could record 3 videos back to back, which made my life a little bit easier. And that said, a warning to the new pyros out there would be, remember, the chemicals are all different, but because the main ingredients are pretty much the same, all of your star comps are going to look exactly identical. And now that we've got this rolled out to a pretty consistent 3/16 of an inch, using our 3/16 dowels there and a quarter board, now I'm going to take our hot prime that we already mixed and just kind of give a nice even coat on both sides of it. Trying to get full coverage because kind of like using flour when you're making dough, this is going to stop it from sticking to everything. It's going to help it pass through the screen. And then by coating it beforehand, when we actually push it through the screen will kind of take the side that has the prime on it, and it will actually make that wrap around the edges because it's going to flow through the screen and not just remove it. And so that is actually going to help us stop them from sticking together, help stop them from sticking to our screen, and then we've already got all sides primed. So now we just have to worry about rolling it into a ball once we get to the step where we put it in the priming bowl. So we're going to try something pretty fancy on this one. I'm going to take my 3 mesh, which again is 3/16 squares. Going to try to fold the edge of it over and just kind of dump it over onto our second piece. And that actually worked fairly well. Still a little closer to the edge than I'd like, but we didn't end up wasting any of our hot prime. So now push the edges down into the screen so that get it started. It won't spread out as we're pushing it through. It's just going to go down and actually get separated, which is kind of what we're aiming for, Get the roller out, kind of go with the wires until I can see them, and then we will take the wash rag and we will push them the rest of the way through. Again, once you use these things for fireworks, they are dedicated. I would not use them for anything else, and I would not go to the airport anytime after doing this. Maybe never again, just don't go near them. So now we're on to the fun step where we're going to prime everything. So put the straggler back in there, take out the little piece of aluminum. And now that they're in here, weten them up a little bit, try to help them get to a round shape. Shake vigorously, work on your chef skills, tossing in the pan here. And this serves 2 purposes, as priming the rest of them to make sure there are no bald spots, but also making them more round instead of square. Because they come out of the screen kind of ghetto squished squares, but they're roughly the right size. So by putting them in here and tossing them, we round them back out where we can actually, use them. And also, round stars fit better together than square stars do. So we've got a pretty good chunk of some sort of prime here in the bottom. Try to break that up, get it a little wet. A little piece of something, take that out of there. I think that's part of the hot prime that kind of caked in there. And now we're going to dual prime these, so getting the black powder prime and kind of repeating this step again of coat, get wet, and then toss to combine. You will be the king of making chicken wings once you're done with this. Or, you get a lot of practice. So go crazy with it, try not to lose them out of the bowl. Reverse, because, consistency. And inspect for quality. You can see it's a fairly dull color. It's reasonably round. So these maybe use a little bit more because they are still kind of shiny, but they are getting closer to that color that we want. And toss in a little bit more because they are still kind of shiny to me. Again, we want them to be that kind of dull powder color that matches the black powder prime, because that's how, when we know that they've fully absorbed it, it's coating all surfaces. You can see this was a really wet batch, so it made them super round and they looked great, but it means I had to use a lot of prime to soak that back up. And they're finally starting to look about like the right color, so we don't want an open jar of prime sitting around. We're going to cap that back off. We'll take these, spread them out onto our drying screen so that they can go in our ghetto-made drying chamber. And then we will be moving on to the next batch while these are drying. You could actually just leave these out somewhere with warm moving air, preferably outside, where animals are not going to eat them, and they will actually dry fine because acetone and denatured alcohol will actually evaporate at room temperature. But putting them in a drying chamber on low heat, they do actually dry a lot faster, unlike black powder, which requires a drying chamber because the ingredients can separate if we try to let them leave at room temperature. But that's also because their binder is literally just boiling water. And then remember that I did a dumb, and when I was getting the wax paper out, I cut myself on the roll of aluminum foil, because I am talented.